Welcome to Dragon Waters. I am Crow Swimsaway, and I want to share with you my dreams for the Dragon Waters Renewal project. I've lived on this land since 1978, the longest I've ever lived anywhere in my whole life. And the land has given me a lot of magic, and I hope that I've given back to the land too. You'll find when you come here that the energy is phenomenal. The beauty is equally grand at every time of year, whether we're talking the waters, which flow down where we're standing right now. After a good rain, I and the camera would both be underwater. And I'm talking about the hillsides, which surround us. Many good things have happened on that hill. Sweat lodges, classes, workshops, ceremonies and rituals. The land is imbued with the energy of all of this activity. It's my hope and my desire to see the Dragon Waters carry on into the future, and that's why I'm raising funds now to renew the buildings and make it a more exciting and more workable place to live. This is my working altar. This is where I do most of the shamanic healing that I do, sometimes visiting people, but mostly people come here. This is also where I teach when there are small classes. There's a small interior room for slightly larger classes, but the space here is pretty limited. But it zings with wonderful energy, and it's a very powerful place to do healing, a very powerful place to connect. You saw on the altar the skulls that are the spirit houses of my major allies, and I'm especially fond of the blue panda, the blue teddy bear, who was brought back for me by a beginning student in her very first ally retrieval. She brought that back for me, and the bear and the message that she gave me at the time were exactly what I needed. So the teaching is, in many ways, as fulfilling as the healing is. And I use the drum primarily for journeying. That's what helps take me into the trance of the journey. I also write here, and so far I have 3 books that are on shamanic topics. Spirit Knife Soul Bone is about the ancient shamanic practice of extraction and how to avoid getting intrusions in the first place. It's a very useful book. And it's the only book of its kind on this subject that I'm aware of. The Circle of the Ancestors is about a very special ceremonial journey that we do to make connection with our ancestors. It describes the process of doing that, but it also describes probably about 200 journeys that I have made to my 2 major ancestors and a couple of minor ones. Ancestors in many shamanic cultures are as important as allies, teachers, guides, so it's a very worthwhile technique to learn. Anecdotal evidence is just what it says. It's stories about myself and how I came to follow this somewhat improbable practice. Rooted in the Heart, Seated in the Soul takes place as a workshop in the gardens that lie in front of the house. Making herbal medicines is also very important here. This workshop teaches how to make herbal medicines, and the book, written by myself and several students, describes that process and the shamanic process of journeying to the spirits of the plants. It is to support all of this work and all of the help that is brought to people and all of the learning that is brought to students that I am dreaming and working to completely renew the buildings on this location. This old building, probably 200 years old, is going to be torn down, leveled, the site renewed and landscaped, and 3 new buildings built on this site, in addition to an outdoor kitchen. The buildings will be 2 small tiny house-sized yurt type structures made of wood for myself to live in and for people who come here for retreats. The larger structure will be a teaching and healing hall with facilities for doing all of the shamanic work that is done here. So I hope you have been as struck by the beauty of this location as I am, and that you can feel my strong urgency to carry on the work in this location, but in a way which is easier and more effective and more comfortable for everyone who comes here. If you'd like to know more about my work, you can go to Swimsaway.org. More about the work of the Church of Earth Healing, churchoferthhealing.org. I appeal to you to help.